Welcome to this explainer. Today we're jumping right into what I think is absolutely one of history's ultimate underdog accounts. We're talking about a definitive clash between absolute, unchecked arrogance and just unshakable faith. It's a narrative that has echoed through millennia, and it's literally shaped our very concepts of tyranny, justice, and divine intervention.
So right off the bat, you got to ask yourself a question that defies all conventional logic. How exactly does a man, armed with absolutely nothing but a simple wooden staff, walk right in and completely dismantle the most formidable superpower of the ancient world? How does that even happen?
Well, it sets up the ultimate historical underdog dynamic. Picture this. In one corner, you've got Pharaoh's empire. We're talking unmatched armies, gleaming gold palaces, and a ruler who wields absolute, unquestioned power over millions. And then, in the other corner, you have Prophet Musa, possessing literally nothing but a simple wooden staff and his absolute faith. It is quite literally the most powerful king on earth, being challenged by a man carrying almost nothing.
Chapter 1. The Ultimate Power.
Let's set the scene. Over 3,000 years ago, ancient Egypt was at the absolute peak of its wealth. But as we see time and time again, supreme power is often incredibly fragile. Driven by this intense fear and paranoia over a prophecy, one that said an Israelite child would overthrow his rule, Pharaoh issued a truly devastating decree. Every newborn Israelite boy was to be killed. It really shows you the psychology of a tyrant, right? They are always most terrified of the things that they just can't control.
But here is where the ultimate irony comes in, and it's just staggering. To save him, Musa's mother places him in a basket on the Nile River. And where does it drift? Right to Pharaoh's front door. The very child Pharaoh feared most, the exact one he was hunting down, ends up being discovered and adopted by Pharaoh's own wife, Assia. So the most powerful man in the world literally paid for the room, board, and royal education of his own downfall. You just can't write that stuff.
Chapter 2. The Call to Prophecy. Okay, so after growing up in the luxury of the palace, intervening in an injustice, and then fleeing Egypt into exile, Musa builds this quiet, normal life in Midian. But years later, near Mount Sinai, his life changes forever. He approaches a mysterious fire, and Allah speaks directly to him, choosing him as a prophet. And the command is clear, but honestly terrifying. Return to Egypt and confront Pharaoh. Allah reassures him, pairing him with his brother Harun. So in that moment, a former fugitive is entirely transformed into a prophet on a divine mission.
Chapter 3. The Great Confrontation. Armed with this divine mandate, Musa walks right back into that magnificent palace with an unyielding demand. Worship Allah alone and free the Israelites. And Pharaoh? He literally laughs at him. He tries to pull a public humiliation by gathering Egypt's greatest illusionists. So the magicians cast their ropes, creating these terrifying, slithering illusions of moving snakes that make the whole crowd gasp. But then, Musa simply throws down his wooden staff. In an instant, by Allah's command, that staff transforms into a real serpent, and it instantly swallows up all those false illusions. Divine truth shatters Pharaoh's staged tricks in seconds.
And guys, this is a massive turning point. The magicians, the very experts Pharaoh hired and paid to defeat Musa, they immediately recognize this isn't some clever magic trick. It's the real deal. It's divine truth. They fall in prostration right then and there, declaring their belief in Allah. And even when Pharaoh furiously threatens them with severe punishment, their newfound faith remains completely unshaken. Absolutely incredible.
Chapter 4. The Escalating Plagues.
Now, despite witnessing these incredibly clear miracles, Pharaoh's pride simply won't allow him to yield. So in response, Allah sends this chaotic, rapid sequence of unmistakable signs. We're talking years of drought, mass crop failures, devastating floods, swarms of locusts, lice, frogs, and waters turning into literal blood. And the psychology here is just staggering. With each disaster, Pharaoh begs for relief, right? He promises to finally believe. But the very second that relief arrives, his heart hardens all over again and he breaks his promise.
Chapter 5. The Great Exodus.
So time finally runs out. Allah commands Musa to lead the Israelites out of Egypt under the cover of darkness. But Pharaoh catches wind of the escape and pursues them with his massive army, leading to the ultimate trap. The Israelites find themselves completely boxed in. Picture the tension here. Ahead of them is a massive, impassable, raging sea. Right behind them is Pharaoh's thundering, heavily armed military. Absolute panic is spreading among the people. Yet amidst all this total chaos, Musa remains completely calm, placing his absolute trust in Allah's plan.
And what follows is literally one of the greatest, most awe-inspiring miracles ever recorded in human history. Allah commands Musa to simply strike the water with his wooden staff. As he does, the sea actually parts. A dry pathway appears right through the middle, flanked by these towering walls of water on both sides, allowing the children of Israel to cross to absolute safety.
Now, blinded by his own rage and arrogance, Pharaoh orders his army to follow them right into the middle of the parted sea. But once they are inside, Allah commands the sea to return to its natural state. These towering walls crash down, destroying the mighty empire's military in an instant. Now, at the very moment of death, Pharaoh declared his belief, but it was too late. His opportunity had passed. A last-second realization just couldn't save him from the devastating consequences of a lifetime of arrogance.
Chapter 6: The Timeless Lesson.
So, what does this all mean for us? This story is far, far more than just ancient history. It's a profound commentary on the very nature of power itself. Just look at their legacies. Pharaoh possessed every worldly advantage you could possibly imagine: wealth, armies, influence, absolute power. Yet he was utterly destroyed by his own arrogance. Prophet Musa, on the other hand, possessed nothing but a piece of wood, immense patience, and total trust in Allah, which led to ultimate triumph. It shows us, clear as day, that no matter how terrifyingly powerful oppression may seem, truth and justice will eventually prevail.
I want to leave you with this final thought. True power isn't found in armies or gold or claiming some fake superiority over others. History remembers both of these men thousands of years later, but for entirely different reasons. One is remembered as a glaring warning of destructive pride, while the man with the simple wooden staff continues to inspire the faith of millions around the entire world today. So which legacy will you choose to build? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with us today.